Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. This is your Hump Day version of the brief, and let's take a look at today's top stories. Well, we're still on the road to who is going to form a government, but in the last hour or so, it has been noted that tonight, perhaps President Rivlin will tap the current Prime Minister, Bibi Netanyahu, with the task of forming the next Israeli government. He will have the leaders of Likud, that's Prime Minister Netanyahu, and the leader of Kahol Lavan, or the blue and white, Benny Gantz, over for dinner. And rumor has it that perhaps he will tap Bibi. Now, this is not seen as a slight against Gantz in any way. In fact, rumor has it that the blue and white would prefer that Prime Minister Netanyahu get the first option at forming a coalition. And this comes after negotiations have stalled. It's a very, very complicated process, filled with blocks and promises and all kinds of issues. But it is democracy Israeli style, and we know that whatever outcome will happen, it will be for the best of the country. Yesterday it was rumored that perhaps Prime Minister Netanyahu would take the first stab at being Prime Minister. However, Benny Gantz would then take the premiership for a longer period of time. But we'll see what comes out of dinner talk tonight, and we will make sure to update you tomorrow. In other news, are now headed to New York. Yesterday was the start of the UN General Assembly. This is when world leaders gather at the United Nations once a year around this time of the year to make speeches and to address certain issues. Well, last night, Turkey's President Recep Erdogan, he gave his speech, but before he spoke, he took a moment on the sidelines of the UNGA to criticize Israel and liken Israel's policies in Gaza to that of Nazi Germany. As you can imagine, this drew tremendous anger from the Israeli delegation, who lashed out at President Erdogan, who then further insulted Israel by, in his speech, brandishing a map of Israel and the disputed territories and saying that Israel has expansionist ambitions. First of all, we would like to excoriate him for such offensive and untrue comments, and also for stealing Prime Minister Netanyahu's propensity to use props during his speech. However, all jesting aside, his comments were truly offensive and drew the ire of Prime Minister Netanyahu, who said that he who kills Kurds in his country and he who is guilty of saying some of the most outrageous anti-Semitic comments should not be casting stones at Israel. And in our last, but certainly not least, headline of today, we would like to say a special mazel tov and bahatzlacha to Israel's first female squadron, who heads up her squadron of the Israeli Air Force and started that yesterday. This is the first time in the history of the Israeli Air Force that we have a female squadron leader, and it is just proof that Israel yet again is leading the way for women's rights, not only in the Middle East but also around the world. And nothing makes us happier than to see women taking flight. And if you're looking for great reading material, we recommend that you check out our website, www.layoftheland.online, www.layoftheland.online. Tonight you can read all about how an Israeli company is leasing land in the Amazon to prevent deforestation. Quite an extraordinary gesture from Israel, who's just sent firefighters to the area to try and get blazes under control. You can also check it out on Facebook. And while you're there, join our growing community, like us and follow us. Also, check out where we are on Friday. We travel the country so that we can wish you Shabbat Shalom from a different wonderful place in the state of Israel. And also don't forget that you can join our growing YouTube committee family by clicking on the subscribe button below on the Israel Brief. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief. We'll chat again tomorrow.